At SBJ's editorial retreat yesterday, we covered a lot of topics, but one of the main topics, as the staff relaxed at Topgolf last night, how long would Bill Belichick remain at the University of North Carolina? I find it hard to fathom how quickly the Belichick brand and legacy has been damaged. And this is your morning Buzzcast for Thursday, October 9th. I'm Abe Madkour. Thanks for listening. Get ready for sponsorship on college uniforms. We have talked about this on the Buzzcast. We said it would be happening, and it's getting closer. An NCAA committee has proposed a change to rules barring commercial logos on uniforms in a move that would clear the way for sponsor patches to appear on jerseys starting next year. Currently, the only logo on apparel during regular season games is the logo of the equipment or apparel manufacturer. Think Nike, Adidas, and Under Armour. But now, if this new proposal is approved, schools could place 2 additional commercial logos on uniforms and apparel during non-championship competition. Now, this isn't an easy move and will certainly mean some conversations with the Nikes and Under Armours and Adidas of the world. But why are they doing this? Yes, of course, you've heard why. In an era where student athletes are being paid, the schools have pushed the NCAA to open up areas for additional revenue, and jersey sponsorship is one very valuable piece of inventory. Staying with the NCAA, while there is a lot of consternation about college athletes and administrators related to sports gambling, and Charlie Baker has made it a real priority, the NCAA is closer to allowing athletes and athletic department staff members to bet on professional sports. Now, the change must still be approved, but if approved, it could go into effect in November next month. It does not change rules which forbid athletes from betting on college sports, but the change comes because they want the student athlete to be better aligned with their campus peers, meaning other kids on campus can bet on pro sports. Why shouldn't college athletes be able to bet on pro sports? So, 2 potential changes for the NCAA, 1 on commercial logos on jerseys, and 2 loosening the rules around betting on pro sports by college athletes. We'll keep you updated as these changes move forward. Let's move on. The cost of going to the World Cup continues to increase, and tickets just went on sale. Yes, FIFA is using dynamic pricing and has raised ticket prices for at least 9 World Cup matches after just a couple of days of being on sale. And this is in response to the strong demand that they are seeing around World Cup tickets. FIFA is using variable pricing models for the tournaments, but the belief was that most price changes would occur after the draw took place in December, where fans could see the matchups and where games would be played. That is what you would think, right? But in the early stages, fans have already seen prices slightly higher than they were when they were first revealed. And we have noted that the prices for World Cup tickets are steep, but the early data shows fans are willing to pay, as hardly any tickets in the third wave of tickets released are available. And so it's proving that early on, tickets to the World Cup in very high demand. Keep your eye on Chicago this weekend, where there is a certain sense of anxiety. The Chicago Marathon, one of the largest races in the world, is scheduled to take place this Sunday, and it comes amid the backdrop of immigration enforcement and National Guard troops being sent to Chicago. This has understandably caused a lot of angst for more than 50,000 runners, many of them from abroad, who are expected to take part on Sunday, as nearly 2 million spectators also watch the race. So about 40% of runners are traveling internationally to Chicago for the race. That's about 20,000 runners. And that has sparked a number of questions from travelers about the situation in Chicago. Some even wondering if they should run the race with their passports or drop out of the race. And there are fears of runners being detained while running along the course. So there's a lot of anxiety in Chicago around this race. And as this happens, Argentina's scheduled friendly match against Puerto Rico, which was scheduled to be played at Soldier Field in Chicago next week, has been rescheduled and relocated to Inter Miami's Chase Stadium in Fort Lauderdale. So reports claim that the game was moved because of the uncertainty and the protest in Chicago and the immigration enforcement. So some tense times in Chicago around sports events. Will keep our eye on the Chicago Marathon this weekend. Shifting to the Olympics, the LA 28 Olympic Committee continues to bring on more and more sponsors, and you are seeing increased sponsor interest around the Summer Games. The latest partner to sign on is Google. Now, Google has signed with LA 28 and NBC Universal, so they'll have a heavy presence during the Summer Games in a few years. Google is no stranger to this. They were a Team USA sponsor in the past. Now, financial terms were not disclosed for such a big partnership around the 2028 Summer Games, but the reported price tag for the founding partner level has started at $200 million. These are hefty investments, and the addition of Google represents another step forward in sponsorships this year, as the U.S. Olympic and Paralympic properties has had a nice run of big deals. Google as a founding partner, that is the highest level of sponsorship. That joins Starbucks and Honda as new sponsors at that level. LA 28 and the group has signed now 14 new sponsors in just this calendar year. So again, real momentum for LA 28, momentum building around those Summer Games in Los Angeles. Let's end with a couple of names in the news. Oakview Group Chief Operating Officer Francesca Bodie, she will leave the company at the end of October. She didn't give any indication of her next move, but this comes after her father, OVG co-founder Tim Leiweke, was indicted by the Department of Justice for bid rigging. He stepped down as CEO months ago. Now, Francesca Bodie was not implicated in her father's legal issues at all. She's been at Oakview Group for 10 years. She was really involved in their arena development business, Climate Pledge Arena, UBS Arena, Moody Center. She became Chief Operating Officer in 2023. She is a two-time SBJ 40 under 40 honoree. She will remain on Oakview Group's board of directors. Her next move to be determined. And TKO Group Chair Ari Emanuel, he's launched a new company with his colleague Mark Shapiro that will incorporate many of the assets that used to be part of Endeavor Group Holdings. So the new company is called Mari. Get it? Mark Shapiro and Ari Emanuel, Mari. And that will hold a number of tennis tournaments, including the Miami Open, the Madrid Open, and other assets. So this move is another interesting, if complicated, transaction involving Endeavor and IMG and Shapiro and Emanuel. Mari launches after Endeavor went private earlier this year, and so there have been a number of complicated moves and transactions, but the bottom line is this is important, and we cover this because Ari Emanuel and Mark Shapiro are two major heavyweights who will be a factor in many sports and entertainment initiatives going forward. That's why you need to keep your eye on what they are doing. So the takeaways from today's Buzzcast are: number one, jersey sponsorship in college sports is coming. You will see more and more commercial logos on jerseys that should result in millions of dollars for schools and universities. Takeaway number two, the early demand for World Cup tickets for next year, very strong, despite variable pricing that is driving ticket prices higher. And number 3, the buzz and corporate interest around the LA 28 Summer Games continues to build as the Olympic Committee signs its 14th new sponsor this year alone. So real momentum building around LA 28. And finally, an SBJ programming note. This week on the SBJ Sports Media Podcast, Austin Karp is joined by my colleagues Ben Fisher, Adam Stern, Tom Friend, and Josh Carpenter. They discuss the media landscape across sports business. Austin Karp also takes a look at the Minnesota Wild and Columbus Blue Jackets decision to stick with FanDuel Sports Network, and an inside look at what to expect with NBC's NBA studio crew this season. All that and more on the SBJ Sports Media Podcast. Make sure you like and subscribe. Available now wherever you get your podcasts. So that is your morning Buzzcast for Thursday, October 9th. I'm Abe Madkour. Thanks for listening. Stay healthy. Be good to each other. I'll speak to you tomorrow.